Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. Saints rookie minicamp over the weekend. I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. I've been to a lot of football practices over the last 12 years, 13 years. Not a lot going on. I know that people are starved for football. They love football. Any football nugget you can throw out there, people eat it up. So we go and we cover it and we give you some of our thoughts. But when you've got a bunch of guys out there in shorts running around, you're not going to be able to draw massive conclusions from it, right? And that's what you've got with Saints minicamp. You can read the posts from the reporters that do a great job covering it, whether it's Luke Johnson or Kat Terrell or Jeff Duncan or Sharif or any of the TV guys. But it's rookie minicamp. They're out there breaking a sweat, learning how to practice. That's really what's going on out there. But Dennis Allen did meet with the media after minicamp and talked about a couple of noteworthy players and a couple of noteworthy answers. So we'll get to some of the sound from Dennis Allen. The first one was about the Saints' first-round pick, Brian Broussard.
Yeah, look, he looks great, and we're excited about what we think he can bring. There's an athletic quality to his game that we like inside at the defensive tackle position. So yeah, he's 6'5", 310, somewhere in that area, and I like that.
You know, we were curious as to what changes in the Saints organization when Sean Payton moves on. Still got a lot of the same cast of characters. Still got Mickey Loomis, and you got Ireland and Allen, some of the people that were around Sean Payton for a lot of his tenure there. But what would change, and what has not changed, is the profile and defensive linemen that they like. They love that relative athletic score. They like those big, tall, long guys that are really good athletes. And not that everybody in the NFL is not looking for big, good athletes, but there's a profile. It's the Sheldon Rankins of the world. It's the Peyton Turners, the Marcus Davenports. And Brian Broussard certainly fits that mold. If you were reading along with any of the people that were out covering Saints minicamp, they were looking at Brian Broussard and saying, look, this is exactly the type of prototype that the Saints like to bring in. And it appears that he looks that part. I'm very, very curious to see how this defensive line overhaul goes for the Saints, because they put a really good product out there on the defensive line for a number of years there towards the end of the Payton era. And last year, it just started to crumble. They just weren't the same team. So it's good that they're overhauling it. I just don't know what the success that's going to be, and we won't know until they start playing for keeps. But Broussard's going to be a big piece of that. Now, Broussard's going to get a lot of playing time this year. The guy that I don't think is going to get any playing time is Jake Haener. In fact, I don't think he's going to be active most Sundays when you've got Carr and Winston at the quarterback spot. But he's the guy with the football in minicamp, so it's worth talking about.
Extremely intelligent. I think that would be the first thing that I would say. You can watch him out there. Fundamentally, he does a good job. He does a really good job of getting through his progressions, throws the ball with timing and accuracy. So a lot of qualities that you like at the quarterback position, particularly from the neck up.
He's a lottery ticket. That's all Jake Haener is. Very likely, you end up getting rid of the lottery ticket because it didn't work out. But I think a lot of people across the league saw the Brock Purdy thing in San Francisco and went, might be worth a shot. And so the Saints took their mid-round flyer on Jake Haener. And again, he's probably not a guy that's going to be active most Sundays. Third quarterback, probably not. But if you see something in him, it could end up being a really, really good thing. And I think there was, again, like I said, entering the sound clip, I think there's probably a little bit more talk about Jake Haener than normal, because how are you going to comment on a defensive lineman who's not shedding any blocks or tackling anybody? Like, he looks big. At least Haener's throwing the ball. At least you can see him actually do the thing that the quarterback does in minicamp. I don't mean to be dismissive of the entire thing. I really don't. But does that make sense? Like, if you had the opportunity to talk about either a defensive lineman who's running around cones or a quarterback who's actually making throws, that's a little easier to draw conclusions off of. So I don't think Jake Haener's going to be out there very often. The hope is that Michael Thomas is out there very often. Now, you're not going to see him in rookie minicamp, but they did ask Dennis Allen about Mike Thomas.
Yeah, so he's still recovering. There was some hardware in his foot that they took out. I guess it's probably been week and a half ago. We feel good about where he's at in terms of his recovery. And, you know, when we get him out here, we expect that we're going to get him out here and get the player that we've had in the past.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? If you had the player you had in the past. Get that hardware pulled out of his foot. That's good. And hopefully Mike Thomas gets back to the guy that we know he can be. But I'm not as optimistic. And so the Saints are kind of building in some insulation there in the wide receiver room. They obviously have some guys on the roster in Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed that you know are going to be in the mix. And then you go in the draft and you take A.T. Perry, who was a really productive college player with incredible athleticism. And then today, they added to that wide receiver room with former Steelers wide receiver James Washington. Now, Washington, to me, is very much in the Jarvis Landry mold. Washington's 5'11". He's like 205. That's basically Jarvis's height and weight. And that's a guy that can win in the slot. And James Washington has done that throughout his career, is win in the slot and been a pretty productive player. So the Saints are kind of replacing Jarvis in that way. You got Olave, who's going to be your one. And you've got Shaheed, who can be the massive playmaker on the outside and can do some things with his speed that not a lot of guys in the league can do. And then you're kind of adding to it. Perry is the athletic freak. Washington's the slot technician, route runner. And Michael Thomas just kind of fits where he fits health-wise. If he's healthy, I mean, we thought he had it figured out last year in that Atlanta game. Opener going, the second half, they can't cover him. Can't guard Mike is back. And then injured Mike was back, and you didn't see him again. So I'm for the Saints going out there and making this ad with Washington. I think it makes a ton of sense for where this team is. And I want Mike Thomas to play. I want him to be out there. I want him to be productive. But the fact of the matter is that counting on that is probably a fool's errand. At this point, he's aging. It's been, 4 years since we really saw him? So you won't hear on this show, you will not hear me on these airwaves lean on the fact when I'm prognosticating about the Saints season that Michael Thomas is going to come out there and catch 1,200 yards worth of balls. That's not happening here. I like the Saints as compared to their division, but it has nothing to do with the fact that I think Michael Thomas is going to return to all-pro form. So I think adding some of these guys is a really, really good thing, and it's necessary, quite frankly, to continue to bring in some options at the wide receiver spot. So that's news as of today. Former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver James Washington has signed a deal with the New Orleans Saints. That's a very, very good ad. Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.